So if you find that you forever lose and regain the same 10 pounds, I'm going to give you a clear step-by-step structure that helped me lose 30 pounds for a photo shoot last year, but has also allowed me to stay within about 5 pounds of that same weight as well, close to a year later. So my name is Connor, I'm a body transformation coach, and my goal with these videos is to pretty much give you everything that you need to go on and achieve your own transformation. So if that is something that you're trying to do, then maybe just click the subscribe button, because that'll help me and it will help you out as well. So this is the exact dieting plan that helped me lose 30 pounds for a photo shoot. And I put almost stay there because I'm not going to be bullshitting you off the rip. I'm not in the exact same place, but I'm within about 5 pounds away. So within a good few weeks of dieting, I could be back to where I was for the photo shoot. I want to start off by saying that this isn't a diet plan, but it's more so a plan of how to diet. Little play on words. The plan itself kind of boils down to 3 main tips or 3 main steps. First one being kill the 50-50. Now this is to address balance off the rip. Chasing balance from the start, for me, in my opinion, is the single thing keeping you stuck and forever regaining and losing the same weight. And that is all down to balance. Now, picture this as a water bottle, right? Or even better yet, picture this real water bottle. Now, whenever you're filling this water bottle up, that is the equivalent of you doing things that you need to do to get in shape. So that's sticking to your calories, going to the gym, getting your steps in. That is you filling the water bottle up. Now, picture that this water bottle has got tens of little pin pricks all the way through the water bottle. So now whenever you fill it up, slowly but eventually, all the water starts to pour out. Now those little pin pricks are the equivalent of like balance. Like if you're trying to still go to the pub every Friday and you're trying to have a takeaway every Sunday and you're not yet saying no when people say, oh, come on, we'll go out for a meal and go out for a few beers. You still don't say no. That is those little pinpricks. So no matter how much you keep filling the bottle up, i.e. doing the right things, those things that you're trying to do to still strike the balance are the things that are going to empty this bottle. Now, eventually, what happens? Eventually, when you're trying to do everything that you can to fill that bottle up, and eventually it becomes empty, you sack the bottle off, you go and grab yourself a beer, and you think, you know what? I'm not even thirsty for water no more. I'm having a beer. And that is the equivalent of what will happen when you try and balance from the get-go. You will try and do the right things. You might see a little bit of progress and you regain it over the weekend, or you regain it after a night out or a meal out. At first you're okay with it because like, oh, well, I lost 3 pounds last week. I've maintained this week, or I've gained a pound this week. It's okay, I'm still on the right path. But then eventually you start to get a little bit pissed off. And eventually at some point you will be like, you know what, this ain't working out for me. I'm not really getting what I thought I would get, and therefore draw a line through it, sack it all in. To overcome this, to fix this problem, you've just got to commit to a block of time to get the job done and to make it a top priority. Like for 12 weeks, if you're committing to a diet and you want to get into a good shape, you've got to commit to that time. For let's say we do use 12 weeks as an example, that is the time that you've got to really make it. This is what I am doing. Nothing tops that priority. If you've got kids, sack them off, let them feed themselves. It's a joke, it's banter. But if you want to get in shape, I'm just saying. But my point is, you've got to try and make it top priority or near to. Don't sack your kids off, but sack some other things off instead. Pick your battles wisely is also a good point. What I mean when I say pick your battles wisely is simply, yes, you can still go and do things. I'm not saying that when you're dieting, you've got to just live in a cave and do nothing other than stick to your calories, stick to your training, stick to your steps. You can still go and do things, of course, but you've got to pick those battles as and when. If you're used to going out every single weekend, or you have a takeaway every weekend, or you do something social every week, you might have to say no to 3 out of 4 of those things, if not more. You can still go and do some stuff, but it means that you've got to say no to things more often. So pick those battles, pick those things that you say yes to more wisely. Don't make it a weekly thing, but if you've got a friend's birthday or you've got a wedding, that might be the thing that you go and do and have a bit more fun at, compared to the other things that you might just say, you know what, sorry, I'm missing out, or yeah, I'll come, but I'm going to come in for an hour, or I'm driving, not drinking. You've got to pick those battles wisely. Essentially, think of it like this. To maintain is easier than to attain. So getting there in the first place is the hardest part. Maintaining what you've achieved is the easiest part. So basically, get the result first, and then you can ease off the gas a little bit down the line without there being as much consequences as if you do it from the get-go. Does that make sense? Brings us on to point number 2, your blueprint. Build out your roadmap. Now, the reason that you will struggle to see a diet through is because you've got no idea when it's ending, how long you're doing it for, where you expect to be at each part of the diet, or what comes after the diet. It's all just one big blur. It's all just one big, I'm dieting. So picture this. So Let's say you go to work one morning and your boss comes up to your desk and slams a big, massive pile of paperwork on your desk and says, right, here you go, pal. Go and work your way through that. And it's like, it's hefty. It's bigger than the Bible. And you're like, oh my God. You've got no deadline in place. You've got no idea what order to do it all in. It's just one big block of work. And he just says, get that done. So you're like, oh my God, when, how, by what point? So what you start to do is you'll start to work through your lunch break every single day. Oh, I've got so much work to do. I'm eating at my desk while I'm working. And then you start finishing late. And then even though you're chipping away at certain bits of work, it still feels like you've got a million miles to go. So the progress is happening, but it feels so slow because you've got no idea when it finishes, and this big pile of work seems never ending. Now that is the same thing as when you are dieting. If you go into a diet and you don't really know how long you're dieting for, what you need to be aiming to lose per week, when you can expect to be at a certain point of the diet, you're just going into like this bottomless pit of like suffering, I guess, because dieting is tough, it's suffering. So when you go in there with no real ideas to the roadmap, the process, you're lost the entire time. So let's just say your boss then comes up to you with the same pile of work, but chucks it on your desk and says, there you go, mate, don't worry about it. There's 6 months worth of work there. That's a project for you to keep you busy for 6 months. Submit one file every single week, no overtime required, off you go. All of a sudden you're thinking, oh wow, so there's my whole work ahead of me, but as long as I get through one file each week and I submit it, I'm done in about 6 months. I ain't got to do nothing crazy, and the progress will be made at the end of the 6 months. That is the same thing with your diet. If you go into it and you're like, right, I know that I've got 20 weeks ahead of me. It's going to be a hard 20 weeks, but I know here's what I've got to do. Here's where I should be each week. Here's where I know that I can let off the gas a little bit, and here's where it's completed and what comes next. All of a sudden, that long string of time ahead of you feels a bit more manageable because you know exactly what happens at each point. Same thing as this. So what do you do? How do you make it happen? You've got to build out your own roadmap. Now, this is something that I use with every client. So whenever I work with somebody one-to-one, they have this built out for them. So I will populate it with obviously their start point, where they want to be, and I will map out the whole process so they know, right, if they've got a goal 6 months down the line, they've got a wedding coming up in 6 months, they will know week by week what the actual focus is, where I predict them to be at a certain point when the diet comes to an end, and even what comes after the diet. So if you have something like this to refer to, again, it's not easy. Of course, dieting is not easy, but it makes it more manageable because you've got like a crystal clear idea. Okay, here's where I am. Here's what I've got left. Here's where I should be. Perfect, we're right on track. You can have this template for free. I'm gonna put the link in the bio down below or the description. You can download that for free and you can make your own roadmap using the one that I use for myself and my own clients. And then you finally got number 3, never done. What never done means is that there's always something to come after what you perceive to be the finish line. So again, the end of the diet is not the end of the diet. Most people think that's the case. So when they achieve a certain goal, they think, right, I'm done now, and that's it. And if that is you, and you've done that, we all have, there's no wonder why after 3-4 months, you've regained all that weight that you've worked so hard to lose because you've just ended the diet. So as a little gaming nerd myself, this is the same sort of thing. Like I think back in the day when you were a little bit younger and you were playing like your PlayStation 1 and you were sat there playing the game and you was like trying to defeat this final boss, and your mum goes, Connor, dinner's ready. And you're like, yeah, 1 minute. And you're trying to beat this boss and you're like, oh, yeah. And you finally beat it and she goes, Connor, it's getting cold. She's not even dished it up by this point, you know how they always do. It's getting cold now, and you go downstairs, it's still sat in the oven. Anyway, and she shouts and I'm like, oh shit, yeah. And I beat the boss, I'm like, yes, put my controller down, turn my PlayStation off. I run downstairs, I eat my dinner, feeling like a champion, just beat this boss on Spyro. And then I go back upstairs to pick up where I left off. And then I turn my PlayStation on, and then bang, this happens. You did not save your progress. And you think, I've just been sat there hours defeating this boss. I've come back on and I've got to do the entire thing all over again. That is the equivalent of you when your diet comes to an end and you just stop. You've just not pressed save on your diet because you've not put the necessary steps in afterwards to progress further. You've simply done all the hard work, you beat the final boss, and then you've been like, yep, done now, console turned off, no progress saved. And you regain all the weight and sometimes end up back in a worse place compared to when you started. What you've got to do is save your game. And what that basically means is have that phase in place for after your diet, which allows you to increase your food, to decrease your cardio, to live a more of a normal life, but in a maintenance period where you can maintain what you've worked so hard to achieve in the first place. So what do? You need to go through the post-diet phase, also known as the bridge. Now, I've done a detailed video on this before. I think it might have been my last one or the one before, so I'll link it in the description. I think I can maybe put like a card somewhere. I'm new to the YouTube game, so it might be on screen somewhere now. Go and watch that, because that basically covers all 3 phases of a diet in order to achieve the progress and then sustain the progress, rather than just coming to a complete end and being like, yeah, job done now. Hopefully that helps. If it does, let me know by subscribing, sharing, liking. If you have any questions, drop them down below. Like I said, down below in the description, I'm going to give you your first 4 weeks of your transformation for free. You can just follow that and be on your way. And I'm also going to give you the roadmap template that you can use to map out your diet so you're crystal clear on where you've got to be when it comes to an end and where you should be at each phase of the diet to keep you crystal clear. Hope that helps. See you in the next video.